So here we go then, in a region where the top seed has been utterly dominant. We see whether or not Queso can change the tide of that. Johnny, they're going to do it. They've got to win 2 best of 7s, but they've managed to do something that no other team has managed to do with this format, this very volatile format. They've come back to back to back into a grand final.
Yeah, they've shown unbelievable consistency. This is such an impressive run that they're on at the moment. And to give a little bit of hope to the Queso fans who are really, just hoping and praying that they're going to have the endurance to make it through maybe the second series as well here. Obviously, we have to see how the first one goes. Don't forget, this team played 5 series on day 1 of this competition. 3 in the group stage, 1 tiebreaker, and then round 1 of lower bracket. And every single one of those went to game 5 as well, if I'm not mistaken. So these guys, they were able to come out on top in a monstrous run on day 1. Let's see if they can do it on day 3 as well.
Yeah, they definitely don't do anything easy, do they? And here's something that's always going to be very difficult, taking on Seiko, who has stepped up to the challenge every single time we look towards him and say, can he play at his best level? He has not stepped off it the entire weekend. Relating Wave now, already moving in. Crucial matchup as well is, can Relating Wave hold on to that midfield whenever the counterattack does come? No team really has got an answer to him yet. He's just so good at the challenges.
Yeah, the defense for Endpoint, I do expect to be much harder to break down than that Dignitas defense was. Dig not warming up too fast in that matchup in the lower final. Here's Relating Wave, decent opportunity. He doesn't have a lot of boost to get back down to the ball after flying up initially. Queso, actually quite glad to see the last shot of that attack come at them slowly. Look at that patience by Seiko, faking to clear the ball across the box, instead going all the way down the line.
The far transition play from Endpoint, so good. Not been at all trouble defensively. Ooh. That one's off the post. Joyo's just looking around, couldn't find anyone to bump. Seiko off the wall, getting plenty of opportunities, been using so much boost, but look at what's happening at the moment. Everybody's just waiting. Let's see what Seiko does. That's certainly one way to try and approach Seiko. Nobody's found a way to stop him just yet.
It's just unbelievable. His ability to create chances, his ability to consistently outplay whoever you put in front of him. Just second to none when he's at his best. And it's all Endpoint at the moment. Another shot rattles off the crossbar. Now Relating Wave with the double tap. He puts that in off the crossbar. Endpoint smashing Queso in the first 2 minutes.
They have had so many chances. If anything, they should have scored a little bit earlier on. But Relating Wave off the crossbar has made it 1-0. And all of that momentum that Queso had built up against Dignitas, against everybody else in this lower bracket run, is gone. Just like this, because Endpoint letting them know that there are levels right now, and Endpoint are hitting a whole nother one. They're coming into this with 2 regional wins to their name already. This would be their 3rd. The first one of this split. As for Queso, they're looking for their 2nd.
Yeah, this is ideal start for Endpoint. Seiko looks lively. Sonoris and Relating Wave look confident. It's that boot camp buff, and whether it doesn't really matter where it is.
It's not
whether
boot camp, it's a LAN party at this point.
Yeah, well, for them, they had to leave the boot camp due to an internet outage. I imagine they put their boots on before leaving, so if they brought them with them, it's the boot camp. They're out there. Doesn't matter where you put them as long as they're in the area together. Immaculate vibes for Endpoint.
Love how no matter how many brilliant facilities we get, there's always going to be the good old-fashioned way of what me and you and everyone else at home will do. Big game release comes out. It's like Rocket League when it first came out. Just everybody waiting, get a play with each other in the same room. Just say, hey, we finally got a chance to get through this. And we're right back here, top level of gameplay. And we're all around Pete's house, looking to try and get the best gameplay we can possibly provide. Seiko already downfield. He's always going to be a bit of a troublemaker over there. Found so much success up against Semper when he did exactly that. Just loitered around, trusted Metzer and Relating Wave to hold the backfield. Just gave them the option, and they usually tend to take it.
Not a lot of passing from Queso at the moment. They are just trying to do what Seiko was doing earlier on, and doing what Seiko always does. Just get the ball, take it past 2 players, get that 2 for 1, and then have a teammate quickly follow up before the defense can rally. It's not working at the moment, though, because the challenges are coming in consistently for Endpoint. Even if one player gets beaten, the next challenge just comes right in that slot before the player can retake control of the ball. Vatira now giving it a go. He's past Relating Wave, and he's past Seiko as well. Unreal from Vatira. Finally, we get that 1 for 2 from Team Queso. And who else but Vatira? Both teams got that French Wonder Kid.
And it was just one chance. We have not seen much of Team Queso in the offensive side of the field, but when they finally got it, my goodness, did they make it work out for themselves. So pressure and probably the better gameplay from Endpoint. But Queso letting everyone know that they will take their chances and they don't need many of them. Infield pass, relating wave off the backboard, looks for a game to himself. Just first touch a bit too high for him, but still good positioning. Seiko, one touch, two touch down. Here comes Mesa, and he barrels the ball over the line.
Awkward position for Queso. They had boost, but no one challenging the backboard here. You cannot leave that undefended against Seiko. And Metsunoris just, like you said, barreled it over the line. Got a bit fortunate with that bounce off the post, but he was the first player that went for it. No one else charged at that ball as quickly as he did, and he is rewarded.
I feel like everybody on Queso looked at that. Oh, we might have another one.
1 minute.
This one's not quite... Oh, this could break at any moment. I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to the physics over there. It's going to be Metzer and Relating Wave for the time being.
They're still locked.
I mean, this is the same duo that won the 2v2 earlier on. Seiko clearly has solid confidence in his team.
Whoa!
Oh, it's broken!
Wait a minute!
Relating Wave! Couldn't get there in time. Oh, that would have been controversial.
Well, I just realized that what you guys saw on stream is the camera panning across to Seiko on top of Vatira's car. He actually jumped in order to get there, so that was intentional break from Seiko. He almost got a big play out of it. 1 second left in the game now. Queso in need of a goal, but not going to get one by the looks of things. Still in the air for now, and that will be the end of game one. Endpoint looking like the better team overall, but that wonder goal from Vatira definitely gives you hope for the Queso comeback.
Yeah, if I'm going to say anything to kind of take away the Queso hope here, is that is their fifth loss in a row in the grand finals. We include the previous tournament. Just got 4-0 swept over in that one, and they need to avoid getting locked into this yet again, because we've had this a lot, actually, Johnny, where, and the Destiny mentioned it, the recency bias. You see teams like this, they come in, they look great in that lower bracket final, and then the team from the upper bracket just reminds everybody of who they are.
Well, you know, they're in the upper bracket for a reason. They're the team who have been playing well all weekend. They've started up there in the playoffs, and they've not dropped down unlike everybody else. So that's, I think, the main reason we're seeing these upper bracket teams just continue to win in this format. I don't really think the endurance is as much of a factor as people are saying it is. But it might be more of a mental thing when you're thinking about having to beat a team twice. It's a hard thing to imagine yourself doing. It's a hard thing to manifest. But Queso do look confident today, so I don't think they're going to be too bothered at the moment. That was just a great game one from Endpoint, and if Queso can start to challenge and defend that backboard a little bit better, then I don't think those goals from Endpoint happen as easily.
Off the backboard immediately, Demo as well, and Joyo can just slot that one in. Great
stuff from Joyo. Flick pass to Rise, who sends it to the backboard. Rise demos the keeper, Joyo's up for it. Just the two players working together there. And the passing from Team Queso needs to, I think, be a big part of their offense. It's one of the things that makes them so dangerous to play against. They've got, of course, that triple threat, everybody capable of the big solo plays. But you love to see these guys pass the ball back and forth. A lot of their highlight goals do come from those team plays. Now, Seiko and Metsa in a 2v1, but Seiko's shot will not go in as Joyo left unpressured. No demo attempt there by Metsa.
So they tried to utilize the idea of a 2v1 less than actually doing it. Seiko taking the ball for himself. Didn't quite work out that time. Metsa now all the way back. It's the ball underneath Joyo. Tira buys his team some time, and a lot of time that he has done for his team. There's Relating Wave. Might go backboard. He's already met. Joyo's having absolutely none of it. And that's probably the right decision to make when you look at a player like Relating Wave. But a misplay actually from Seiko has offered an opportunity. Team struggling though to just chain back-to-back touches of the ball. And we see another one here, and left thing's very awkward actually. Off the backboard, bounces down, Rise is trapped in, and Joyo cleans up. But these teams need to settle into a rhythm.
A bit of a squandered opportunity moments ago by Vatira, who went for the solo double after Seiko gave possession to them. They gave it right back. Gotta consider every missed shot, every missed attack, just giving possession to the other team. But Rise almost blundered an own goal at the other end of the field. So a couple of mistakes there in game number 2. I do like the more high defensive line from Queso. They are trying to swarm the midfield so they can meet Seiko in particular as early as possible.
On the line, Metzer would have preferred if that 100 boost turned up. It's not going to, but he's still done well to play the ball away. Instead, the shot comes in. 2 players near it. Seiko tries to get there before Vatira, but Vatira has recovered just in time. Now we get to the opposite side of the field. Rise bullying Metzenaris, but he's got back up finally around. And a very quick breath. This game is happening in just sprints. Now we might get another one. Oh, Rise off the backboard. Where's that going to bounce? That's awkward. And Metzer shows Rise how that one's dealt with.
You're seeing a ton of turnovers here, a lot of end-to-end stuff. So many bumps being attempted. That really just leaves the third man stranded a lot of the time if it doesn't connect. But that one connects. Seiko misses the ball, though. And just like we're saying, no third man ready to move in on the attack because you've got that big committal with your first 2 players. A bit of space for Seiko here. Vatira's up in the air as early as possible. Calls, or reads Seiko perfectly there as well to fly down and in the way of Seiko's attempted mind game. Here he comes again, Seiko to the backboard, which has been a much more defended option from Queso. Wait a minute, that's actually almost on target. It's off the crossbar and in from the own goal. Relaying Wave couldn't read the bounce, rushes it, and it will be credited to Rise. Full pitch, clear, a great bounce off the ceiling. Oh, it's your Relaying Wave. You didn't need to do that. You didn't need to rush yourself there.
The team was not going to get there in time. Team Queso weren't going to be there before. I believe it was Seiko as the next player up could have got himself around that ball. So just a misplay here from Endpoint, and Team Queso double their lead. Might even get another one. That could bounce anywhere. Terror off the ceiling. Here's Joyo. Much more confident looking Team Queso. That further up line, just getting them so many more chances off the backboard. Could that one have been on target? Instead, Rise transitions out. He's got enough boost to try and aim for somebody. Instead, he goes for the entire length of the pitch. And is this a little bit more to do with the fact that Endpoint are getting caught on the transition this easily, where they have to now scramble back every time rather than having somebody ready and available?
Yeah, Endpoint having to just throw caution to the wind here, brilliant. And they've conceded again. It's a really nice bump play from Queso, not for the first time this game. Vatira gets the outplay onto Relating Wave. Rise collects the ball, chips it infield, and easy goal for Joyo again, who's really been fed well by Rise this game. Rise might have been the one delivering the cheese to him in the last series.
Well, talk about some of this, actually. This is a 3-0 game. What on earth was that? Sumi had like a door stopper of cheese.
Yeah, he did.
Like, I appreciate the commitment going on over there.
It's multitasking. Best of both worlds. Now, chance actually for Rise again. Lots of mind games on the air dribbles from Team Queso. I expect to see a lot of that from both teams, especially in this first series. So many early challenges, like we're seeing here from Vatira. He's jumping up immediately there. He's simply flying directly in the path of the air dribble to give himself options as a defender. If the air dribble continues towards him, he's in the perfect place. If it looks like the air dribble's in fact going to be taken back down to the ground, he can fly down. Not really committing too early. It's the name of the game here. But the mind games gonna keep on coming. I expect to see loads of those mid-air from Seiko, Vatira, Joyo. Who knows? We're seeing the mechanical plays from the other players in this lobby occasionally as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in the midfield as well from both of these teams. They've been slowly starting to shut it down. The main question has been is, how are you going to deal when the ball is under control? Both of these teams have had their own ideas about that. Queso becoming a lot more aggressive about it this time around, and also not leaving that backboard open. They had one look earlier on in that game, and they decided, you know what, I don't like that anymore. Let's make sure we got a player available.
Yeah, the backboard was definitely a little bit exposed in the first game of the series, and Endpoint able to punish that. But game 2, Queso didn't really give any avenues of attack to Endpoint, who were stretching themselves thin, trying to create an opportunity, ended up just conceding more and more. Will Endpoint be able to remain consistent? Because overall today they have been very consistent. That was one of the messier performances we've seen from them throughout this entire event. Queso do bring that out of you, though. I don't know if we can rush and call it, just purely Endpoint misplays yet. But we'll have to wait and see. That own goal from Relating Wave, of course, not ideal. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if at the Pete Living Room Bootcamp there was just laughter at the sight of that, as Endpoint, of course, the last team to get tilted by those kind of things.
Yeah, I think they're very much enjoying themselves at the moment. I mean, you've got an opportunity to do what no other European team has done, and that is win 3 of these tournaments out of the 6 that we have done. In a region where this has proved very, very difficult to do, they've kind of taken on the regional BDS role. Oh, BDS. Save that was Seiko. I can't believe he made that.
And he had so much boost left over as well, but the shooting from Vatira. Perfection from Vatira, and Rise again with the assist. He's faking a shot there. Diving challenge, does not make contact. Perfect pass. You really have to give Rise most of the credit there, despite the shot being absolutely ideal. Another mistake again from Endpoint. No contact on the ball with the initial challenge. That is the worst thing you can do for your teammates behind you.
Rise having a fantastic series for himself, however. Not usually the player that has brought too much attention to, but he's definitely been the standout across the 6. Here he is yet again. Maybe he can provide a little bit more magic for his squad. Metza gets past a couple, needs Seiko's support. Endpoint, as always, not scared to send multiple bodies at a single play. It's left them a little bit more open towards these counterattacks, but it's not something they're going to abandon. Here's something you'll never abandon. The Seiko outplays, leaves it for Relating Wave, and almost managed to squeeze it through the gap between the 2 players. Instead, we look towards the counterattack. Nothing there just yet. Seiko in field. And that's a dangerous one as well. Metza was going to struggle to get back if that one was intercepted. But if you can say anything about Endpoint, they're not playing scared.
Endpoint again and again looking infield. It's not been available
Relating Wave, you got to get back.
at all. And nice save there by Relating Wave. We're seeing good defensive plays though from Queso, whereas it saves for Endpoint. It's interceptions for Queso, and that gives them much more of a counter-attacking chance off these plays that Endpoint are making, and also just prevents the shot from even happening in the first place. So much rather what we're seeing from Queso. Endpoint need to try and do something different. Oh my.
Oh my goodness. What? Has not got in. And now Metza looks to try and break. He can't quite find the challenge against Rise. Rise once again, just forcing something, get his team back. But that should have been 2-0.
Oh, they're just not on the same page. It was an attempted passing play after a successful bump for Queso, but I don't think any touch was necessary. It looked like a wide open net and ended up just being taken away from them there. Sometimes it is better to just not touch the ball, although very difficult to just let something that close to the goal go right by you. Okay, still 1-0 for Queso. No need to panic, but they have just thrown away a completely open net. 2 players. Either one of them could have probably scored it, but they've somehow combined into a miss.
If you want good news over on Queso, though, this overall territory that they have got looks very similar to the territory that Endpoint had in Game 1. They've switched it. They figured something out. Here's Joyo on the chase. He's up against Relating Wave. Does very well. Just powers the ball to the opposite side of the field. Metza tries to fake out Vatira. He's done really well with it. 0 boost, and Metza keeps going. 2 players for just 1 boostless Metza. You'll always take that. Rise keeping that pressure on. Shot! This could be wide. And Vatira got there. Again, low boost. Boost at a premium here across both teams.
Still 2 minutes, and again infield for Endpoint. They have again and again looked for the infield pass. High infield passes, low infield passes in this game. Doesn't look to be the best option, in my opinion. Obviously, they're switching up because they realize the backboard defense improves, so they go infield instead of the backboard. I think they got to try and generate a little bit more from those solo plays like we saw before. Maybe even the physical plays. We have seen Queso has tons of success with that. There is Seiko with the solo play, but Joyo's positioning. Brilliant in defense. Getting to the ball first almost every single time when he's in the 3rd man spot. Knowing how far he can advance without taking any risks.
I do typically like the infield, but not when you're overdoing it, especially when you're not scoring from airs. There's the shot. Oh my goodness! Vatira! How on earth you kept that out to the opposite side of the field? Rise tries to go past, didn't find the flip reset. But somehow Vatira has kept that lead at 1-0. Now Seiko again against Vatira, who is just a brick wall. Cannot be broken down.
Seiko air dribble into flip reset into more of an air dribble, but still saved by Vatira. It's important that that challenge came through when it did, though. That forces, of course, the flip reset from Seiko, so he doesn't have one to work with when he arrives at the goal. Okay, still working together with their challenges, just like Endpoint did in Game 1. Now Joyo with the reset. He's denied by Seiko. So many saves of these big mechanical plays. But it's Endpoint you trail. Should be 2, but it's actually 1. Another infield pass, and again, it's shut down. The interception's so consistent for Queso.
They're doing that as well when they don't have a third man. We noticed it earlier on. It's happened again. There's the shot. There's the goal.
Okay.
And after everything, it's just the good old bread and butter of Rocket League. Find the backboard and see who gets there first.
Yeah, all eyes are on Seiko there. It's almost unimaginable to think that he wouldn't be getting a double tap here. You know it's Seiko, so everybody's thinking he's going to double that. No eyes on Relating Wave, who had the follow-up shot covered. It looked like Seiko called that he wasn't getting that ball very early. So Relating Wave, from the very moment that touch was made, lining up the shot, looking at that open bottom corner. That open net miss from Queso eventually gets punished. Will we go into overtime? Ball looks like it's going to stay up for at least a little bit longer.
Have we gone to Metza's camera where he's had more than 10 boost? He's been struggling out there for anything. Seiko finds the shot. That was just a little bit off target. Always asking a lot from just 12 boost. 1-1. And yeah, that earlier miss becomes really prevalent at this point.
And it's one of those where I think Queso would be extremely annoyed at themselves. Earlier on, losing game 1. Fair enough. Big plays by Endpoint. They came out swinging in game number 2 to remedy the situation. They've only got themselves to blame for the situation they're currently in. Another 2v1. Rise pops it into the top corner. Vatira's demo lands. Timely as ever. And Queso do get that all-important win in a game they should have had without the overtime being needed.
Fantastic communication, though, from Team Queso, slowing down the play to a crawl to make sure Seiko couldn't try and get there in time. Instead, just at the mercy of the demolition. Like you mentioned this actually in the first game, how both these teams have been going so all in at times where we only have one player back at best. Queso are the team that I think are making doing a little bit of a better job of utilizing that and just hunting down that third player, getting the demos and leaving themselves with open nets.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see. I would love to get, obviously, the fly on the wall view of the Endpoint timeout here, but they, of course, are.
It's probably not as active as usual. There's not as much space to work with.
That's what I was wondering. You know, with such a little room to maneuver in their current setup, you know, are they just all taking a step to the left? You know, right beside their chairs. They don't have that room to get moving, get walking about as they usually do. I'm interested to see what they decide to come up with here, because Queso are definitely outplaying them. You got to remember, this should have been a regulation time win for Queso. They missed an open net. The chances that they're creating are just of a higher quality than Endpoint, who do seem to be waiting for that big Seiko play or those clear-cut shots for Relating Wave and Metsonoris. I would like to see them try a little bit more of the physical play instead of just immediately rotating out every time that they attack.
I have a question as well. For anyone that has seen the Endpoint setup that they currently have over at, well, Pete's house, the monitors they've got have got like a little cup holder underneath them. Would anybody at home trust themselves to use that? I know I wouldn't. That's something that I don't go anywhere near. Yeah,
that's very brave. I don't know if that's a good idea, but yeah, what do you reckon?
Make sure you go and check out Endpoint's Twitter. What do you think? What do I think? I mean, they've got to use... This is the only time I'll allow them to use it, because they've got so little space to work with. The water's got to go somewhere.
I'm just wondering, like, what... I guess desk slams? Is that to protect against desk slams? Because you slam your desk, water...
If you slam the desk, I think Pete's going to give you the death stare.
Yeah, it's not even a desk. It's like the dining table or whatever it is that they've wheeled through to the room. I suppose that's the idea there, that, you know, you've got a little cup holder attached to the monitor that, if you are a desk slammer, could be useful. Keeping your, you know, keeping your cups, keeping your drinks upright during turbulent, tilted situations. So 2-1 tie.
I don't know. If we suddenly find out Endpoint are a desk slam team, I think that would be quite the shock to everybody.
I would definitely be surprised. I would really... I want to see it one day. I mean, I do like to see a good desk slam. The passion is something you always want to see.
I just can't see it from Metza. We already know that Seiko hits like a Zen mode throughout the entire series. He just doesn't move. That leaves Relating Wave.
Oh!
Let's see what they've got here. Vatira tries to get rid. Metza already there around. Here's Seiko. Metza chasing down Rise.
There
Rise
it is.
can do nothing.
Well, we talked about this. It didn't take long to show up. Physical play. So instead of rotating out here, Metsonoris realizes this is a pretty good opportunity. Something that Queso do all the time. Let's just chase Rise into his own net and get that immediate goal. Rise would have needed to go for a bit of a faster option there. I think maybe jumping into the goal, wave dashing down the way instead of looking for the in-and-out save would have gotten back to the ball a bit quicker. He's in a tough spot there. You can't really put the blame on him in that 1v2.
Oh, well, now we see the opposite side, and that's how they've dealt with it. Relating wave, doing circles. Gets to in time. Pass over to Rise. Midfield, though, starting to look more and more like endpoints at the start of this game. Rise already half rotates back around. Metza. Oh, we're on his camera. He's on 0 boost. Okay, well, going to keep an eye out for this still.
There we go. He got the 100.
He did.
In the back corner.
Somebody get him on camera real quick so we can change that.
Yeah, how long is it going to last? It never seems to last long.
Joyo. Again, just tries to find a way over and over the fast side. Rise. Outpaced by Metza. No fear on his part, although the booming far clear. Leaves Relating Wave by himself. Gives his team some time, but this is where Queso have done their best work. Now clearing pass over to Relating Wave. Shot!
Ooh.
Again! These shots have just been skirting wide every single time, but Seiko off the challenge has got in!
Seiko scores the second goal already. How did this one go in? I think Matira was in that near post area. Oh, he's just a little bit awkwardly placed though. He's off the goal line. Rookie mistake by Matira. If he's just on the other side of the goal line there, that is the most routine save of his life. But by being 1 or 2 car lines closer to the play, he doesn't really gain anything. He only risks conceding an embarrassing solo roll in the bottom right corner.
So the timeout. Again, looking good for Endpoint. We don't know what they did. Usually we get a little bit more of an insight and kind of forgive them. Maybe not getting the cameras on today. But it is the team that has probably made the most use of this timeout ever since it got introduced last season. And found the most success. Vatira had to make a decision, decided not to try and chase the ball up against Seiko. Done very well, actually. Up against Seiko, up against Metza, coming out on top against both of them. Now Relating Wave. Back pass to Seiko. That's some confidence. It's actually worked.
Yes, it's a good idea. It's better than just leaving the ball and waiting to see what Queso are going to do with it. I'm sure that whatever they hit is going to be more dangerous than that high back pass. That's a good challenge. The challenges have been impressive by Endpoint in this game. Not making the same mistake that they started off game number 3 with, where that first challenge just didn't make contact with the ball. Now it's all about hitting the ball, and Relating Wave catches Joyo off the goal line now. Queso once again looking just a tiny bit uncomfortable, a little bit awkward on that goal line. I mean, what is Joyo covering here? Not a lot.
Yeah, it's just cutting right through the middle of the rotation, not covering back post. I can hear an angry Gregan out there somewhere regarding that.
It just doesn't even have to be that good of a shot. The shot wasn't anything special. It just bounced in.
Just
it
put
wasn't
it
even
away
the bottom
from
corner.
the person that's static on the goal line right in the middle. Just not there, effectively.
It's evident that Queso are all about attacking the ball. They don't want to be making reactive saves, but sometimes you have to. Speaking of, no time to react to that shot. Batira puts in the first for Team Queso.
Batira's having some fantastic success from these midfield plays. This one just laid over to him. Guess who? It was Rise, who seems to have been integral to every single play that we have had from Team Queso. 3-1, significantly more manageable. Now Rise off the kickoff. A little bit of time to himself, but that half rotation by Seiko shut it down very quick.
Yeah, very important turn there by Seiko. You know, a lot of players would have just turned away and gone for the boost there because they can't really make a play on the ball. But he knows it's not really about making a big play on the ball, trying to make a goal-scoring opportunity happen. It's about helping out your last man back, just putting some pressure on the ball, forcing a play early so that he's got time to react. Best case scenario is what happened. Look at this though from Joyo. He's uncontested. And if you give these free uncontested aerials to Team Queso from this range, yeah, good luck saving them. Joyo makes it 2.
And suddenly we have ourselves a real match. From 3-0 to 3-2, and with a lot of time to work with. Team Queso hunting their way back into this game. There's Joyo. He's got Rise on the far side if he wants to get it to him. He does. Some bumps as well. Vatira takes that one, but Seiko already up in support. Good clear across the far side, but Team Queso looking deadly at the moment. Joyo Looks for the musty, gets it down to Rise!
Oh!
And Meta gets the save, but Joyo gets another one! And Seiko didn't get enough on the save from 3-0 to 3-all.
Yeah, Metsonoris just doesn't get an early enough touch on it. Has to make a diving save. Double commit from Endpoint as they're in a panic. Oh my goodness, what a comeback by Team Queso. Electric attack and just constant pressure. Shots getting slammed on target. Endpoint have definitely had a bit of a throw here. Letting their boost management go. Not getting those challenges in early enough.
Relating Wave tries to clear the line. Seiko already down there, passes the ball onwards. Is it going to be Metza? His shot comes in. It wasn't much power. And Joyo grabs that and just guides it away from the net. But not a great play after the fact. Here comes Seiko, fakes out an initial shot, and Batira holds the line for just long enough where the fake isn't going to find the ball past him.
That's bold by Relating Wave. Web for his third man. He at least blocked the long shot. And Metsonoris baits in one challenge. 50-50 on the second play. Joyo somehow, as always, is gravitating his way back to the ball. It's a very good demo by Relating Wave in the recovery. Endpoint continuing their most physical game they've had so far this series.
Oh, Joyo, he's looking for Relating Wave, and
save.
Fantastic communication again, because Relating Wave had no chance against that pressure.
That's just a great save. Such a good touch. Such great knowledge of the position to know where the danger is. And overtime, game 4, and just like that overtime, where Queso eventually got a win that should have come their way earlier, Endpoint are going to feel like they're in the exact same situation now. To lose from 3 down, even though Queso did attack well, that stings for Endpoint. That's painful, especially after that tactical timeout.
Well, it's going to be boot camp buff and timeout buff for Endpoint, and it might be about to go away. Vatira's shot put too high. I think he just expected somebody to be in net for that, but he might have been able to test his luck. Vatira again onto the wall, going to find it himself. Already on Endpoint, respecting that, already backing down.
Yeah, I think you're right. Vatira just didn't think the ball was going to come towards him. He was too close to comfortably shoot. It's a very nice challenge by Metsonoris. Vatira's quickly up to challenge Relating Wave. But where's Seiko? That's the question. He's lurking at the edge of the box. Good communication there by Endpoint to know just whose ball that was, despite it being close to Seiko. He understood, well, actually, it's a bit too high for me to really do anything with. Metza's got that one covered.
Metza again just puts the ball up forward, steals some boost, and gets himself back out. Knows his job is just to be the facilitator at the moment. Here he comes yet again, off the wall, backboard. Who's there first? It's Seiko!
Oh!
And off the post again! Somehow, this overtime's going to keep going, but Relating Wave looks to try and seize exactly to that. Drops back down. It's up high. Here comes Metza. Looks to try and set it up. Seiko on the outskirts, did not want to dive forward, and we go to the opposite side of the field. Team Queso's chance to shine.
What a save by Vatira again. He's been really a pain for Seiko to go up against. The countryman reading him well. As Rise now lofts the ball towards Metsonoris, who's out of boost. It's on the goal line and in. Joyo completes the 4-goal swing. Metsonoris boost management just not quite good enough. He couldn't get back towards that one after the sloppy takeoff. And an easy goal at the end of the OT. Wow. The defense though, for Team Queso, really shining strong here. A team that are so known for their offensive flair. Massive reads in defense today, Showman.
Wow, and what a stat this is as well. Queso have won 7 overtimes in a row. This is a team that
Unreal.
said is going to really struggle at LAN and not have the clutch factor. They might choke it. I don't know how you can believe this right now.
I think that was cheating from Cole. I don't think he believes that. I don't think anybody believes. When you look at this team, when you look at the mechanical consistency, when you look at all of the options they've got at their disposal, they really make good use of the physical game. They've got the solo plays in the air, they've got the shooting, and their team plays brilliant. I mean, they've got it all in attack. It's everything you would really want from a Rocket League team. Of course, they don't have that one's pedigree. Maybe the 50-50 is not quite as dominant. But who needs ground 50-50s when you're just going to air dribble everything? They don't really dribble, they just air dribble. So they're playing to their strengths. And they're, again, putting up the best fight that we've seen coming out of the lower bracket from any European or North American team so far in this format.
I mean, coming into this, Europe had only had 1 win from anybody in that lower side of the bracket in the grand finals. We've already got 3 now for Team Queso. They're looking at the verge of a bracket reset. Mind that they do have to beat Endpoint twice. They look like a team that's very capable of beating Endpoint twice.
Oh, absolutely. Especially after that last game. That was all Endpoint. They should really have been able to hold on to that lead. I think the boost management just disappeared at the end of the game, allowing Queso to come back. But credit to Queso. They really do know how to turn up the pressure, especially when they're trailing by more than one goal. This is not the first time that they've come back from a significant deficit late in a game in this event. They've reverse swept Vitality. They've reverse swept the first round of the lower bracket as well. Every single match that Queso needs to make these reverse sweeps, they're coming back and they're making it happen.
Am I wrong now to start thinking that the main storyline here for Endpoint is this boost management from here on out? They've struggled. They've had limited access. They might have a limited chance here. Joyo comes in a bit late. But from what started off as a haha, look at this, Metza's always low when we were over on him, ended up being the reason why they lost the overtime.
Yeah, it's just a difference in, I'd say a slight gap when it comes to recovery, certainly. Queso's so fluid with their movement. They never lose momentum once they've used that boost. But look at Relaying Wave maintaining his momentum in this play. Just completely burst free in this one. Got away from the demo.
So close.
And he slides the shot past Vatira, who just couldn't get a dodge off. Great placement by Relaying Wave.
I want to see that at like 25% speed just to see how many pixels away he was from getting hit. That's as close as it can get.
It looks like there might have actually been contact as well by Seiko onto Vatira, so really nice play. Endpoint continuing to utilize that physical game. Ever since that timeout, it seems to be something that they're really trying to force more often. All the top teams are doing this these days. You know, even the teams who really would rather play a more clean play style, they understand the strength of going for a demo every now and then, going for one of those plays that is going to catch the opposition off guard. They think you're rotating out. You're not. You're bumping them. And here's a good example. Rise scores the open net, but it's all about Vatira in this one.
Just so quick at how you can break this down. Land on one, bump the other, and Rise can just find the easiest goal that he's going to get in a grand finals. Yeah, you cannot afford to slow it down defensively anymore. If you do, you are prime target.
It's why hiding inside that goal line is so powerful these days. You're just a little bit harder to demo if you're hiding inside the net compared to sitting outside of the goal.
Especially on a map like this, where it's significantly more difficult to look inside there and see who's around.
Yeah, you can't see in this one, so this is a great map for it. Metsonaris getting an open net at the other end now. No third man in position in time for Team Queso. That's really all about that touch from Joyo. He didn't keep control of the ball. He needed to buy his teammates just half a second more. Not even, maybe just a couple of tenths of a second that they would have been there. But the first touch went a bit too far. And Metsonaris, well, you could see all the goal that he needed to in that play.
Let's see, though, what that threat of demos has done to both these teams, though, where they are so much more willing to be aggressive with that third man, because the alternative sometimes is just to be stuck 2v1 and potentially get demoed. Yeah. So a lot of those back players are choosing to be more aggressive, maybe take themselves out of position, just because they don't want to see that situation develop. And it has been fascinating to see how that has worked for the last couple of months of Rocket League. Here is Vatira. He has been horrible for Seiko to play against. Almost found another one.
Wait, what? Joyo almost created something there by, I think, accidentally backflipping, but of course, it's such a surprise to see a player like Joyo flipping completely by mistake that you can't expect that. You can't read that. Who knows? Maybe he did just decide to flip on the spot to mind game Endpoint.
So from the vaults of Direct as well, Seiko has had 100% goal participation, I believe, coming into this game. It has been Rise, though, that has been the provider on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, Seiko's still 100%. Both assists.
Yeah, you definitely know who the talisman is, don't you? Despite the fact that maybe coming into this part of the tournament, it had been a lot more Relating Wave and Metza than we are typically used to seeing. Is Vatira made that one look a little bit more difficult than I think it ever was. They're still going to need Seiko to hold strong, especially here. Right? He's up against everyone. Joyo couldn't grab the ball quick enough. And that gives Relating Wave time to get back. But it just feels like there's another goal in this game. I don't know which side it's going to go to. There's no way this ends at 2-1.
Yeah, especially Queso with that late push. We expect to see them just really go for it, and this is a great chance. Rise almost had that popped over the third man. They're still in a good position here.
Queso against 3.
Yeah, Meta's done well, but they need more out of this. They really need to get the ball clear. Now, here's Seiko. He'll do just that. Great read on the defensive touch. And your last goal could be for Endpoint. Still, there it is. Seiko, 100% goal participation. Getting a goal for himself on this one.
I love that from Relating Wave. He didn't go for the first time shot. If he does that, the defenders can get a strong bit of contact on the ball, clear it wide, and work on their own counterattacks. Instead, he kept it nice and close to himself, remove the pace from the ball, and see what happens afterwards. But it's so much more harder for the defense to clear. So we do get the pass over to Rise. Needs to get something from this. Otherwise, this game's probably gone out of the grasp with Team Queso. And Endpoint will be one step closer to finding their way back into this series. Rise off the wall. Needs something. He needs it quick. Drop down, and that's going to do it. Endpoint bounce back. And they've got themselves to 3-2. Still need 2 more.
Yeah, they're not done yet. And don't forget, they had the 3-goal lead in the previous game before somehow losing that 4-3. So they're, I think, in a good position now. They've had control for 2 games, for the majority of 2 games at least. And if they can keep this up, then the comeback is certainly on. But Queso have got so many different options at their disposal. I'm really curious to see what it is that they're going to go for in this last game. Are they just going to sit back and let Endpoint continue to come at them, or are they going to really try and squeeze them into the back corner like we see them do when they're losing? You know, are they going to do that from a 0-0? Maybe. I really like from Endpoint though that they didn't get the win after the timeout, but they realized actually we're still getting a lot out of these physical plays. Let's keep going for those. Let's just linger up front a little bit longer after making plays in the ball. You don't. I mean, we were talking about the recoveries of Queso being a step above, but you don't really want to just go all in on recovering fast just because the other team's good at that. You know, they can still get something out of these bumps and demos. Relating Wave opening the game there with exactly that.
I think for me, the biggest thing on Endpoint is that they got away from the over-reliance on infield passes. The infield for Endpoint is a good play, but you look at the options they've got available and the assets on their team, it's not their best play. It's not even close to their best play. It should be the ender once you've already taken a few players out of the game, not something that you're desperately doing to try and hopefully catch the defense off guard, because Team Queso don't stay still. You're not going to catch somebody on the goal line napping. They are coming to charge that ball down.
Yeah, it made sense at the time to go for it, but it didn't work, and I think you're right. They did stick on it a bit too long. It was clearly the plan after they realized that backboard wasn't really working as much as it did in game 1. Endpoint's ability to adjust between games is legendary. Can they do it in the middle of a game? Right now, they don't have to. Metsonoris smacks in the first goal from the back post. Seiko's still involved in every single one of them.
That was a lot more work for Metza to do than you might be used to, but clean as you like with this shot. Put it behind the goalkeeper. Nestled that in towards the top corner. So Endpoint holding on to the momentum. Queso, you mentioned the options that they've got. Well, one of those options is that timeout. They have not burnt it just yet. I think wisely holding it before that game 7.
Yeah. Look at this from Joyo. This is
it's gone low
to read. He's just unpredictable as ever. But the attack does grind to a halt. He didn't have a lot of momentum there on the ball. Luckily for Endpoint, that limited his options significantly.
Patira looking for Joyo again, but here's Metza, who significantly more confident and, well, maybe significantly more boost with himself for the past few games. There's everybody on Endpoint just taking it in turns from the midfield. Rise gets a bit of space for his squad. Didn't last for too long, as Joyo had to jump early. Knew that the demo was coming in if he didn't. It's just little things like that. The demos just cause you to play that tiny bit different and ask you different mechanical questions of yourself of, yes, you know how to get this ball. Typically, can you do it when you've got to jump a second earlier?
You have to against Queso. There is really no point jumping late. Metsonoris going a bit too high on that one. Rise easily goes underneath his pre-jump. Endpoint continuing to challenge, continuing to press forward. They don't want to get stuck on their goal line against Queso. They know that it's just not going to work. Queso's shooting boots are definitely on today. If you give them that position, they're going to score from it with consistency. Bit of an awkward landing there for Seiko and Metsanoris getting tangled up, but there was no counterattack available for Team Queso. Endpoint maybe a little bit fortunate about that one. Should not be colliding, of course, when you're rotating out.
A chance there just to sit on relating waves POV for a while and see how he had to position because Vatira's around, and here it is yet again.
Oh,
straight towards Metza. That shot well worked, but needed to be further away from him. Still a fantastic save. Now Seiko to the opposite side of the field. That's going to drop down so awkwardly, but for everybody who isn't Vatira, well played to get rid of that danger.
Yeah, that's a huge opportunity gone astray there for Joyo. He had the whole goal to aim at, and he's hit it in one of the areas that Metsanoris could in fact reach. So credit to Metsanoris. Joyo should really be scoring with chances like that.
Oh, that demo forces Metza to scramble himself back. Drop pass, Vatira ready for it. Again, Joyo is so difficult to read. Metza this time, tasked with the clear, goes far side, doesn't choose to steal the boost though. Threat of Queso just counter-attacking too strong for you to loiter around too long. His rise doesn't get there. Relating wave takes his time. No panic this time around. Now it's better for time to panic. Those Seiko shots! Yeah, good luck trying to stop that.
The second goal from Endpoint coming right off a boost steal at the far post. Metza did this at the first goal. Boost steal comes right back into the play instead of just flipping away to the halfway line. Now it's Seiko. Boost steal stays in the play. Doesn't just autopilot out. Knows that he's still an option for his teammates to pass to. That back post position has been wide open for them twice now in the same game.
Joyo. Good stop from him. Seiko already up. Doesn't get the reset. Might not need it as Vatira takes it away. Vatira definitely been tasked with making sure that he's the one that shuts down Seiko. Now Rise, tough angle. With a minute left, we know that Team Queso are capable of this. Metza, oh, stuffed on the challenge. Here goes Vatira. Low boost. Is it a problem? Yes, it is. Couldn't get there in time. Well, Seiko is back to make the stop, but still, good pressure coming out from Team Queso. Joyo just misses it. Seiko's challenge. This is just more time of the clock that Team Queso don't want to see wasted.
It starts to feel like one of those series, one of those matches where, I mean, if you could, I think Seiko and Vatira would be swapping decals at the end of the game because they've just been worst enemies, denying each other scoring chances. But they're going to have a lot of respect for each other because not many people could read Seiko, not many people could read Vatira. They did a great job preventing each other from scoring.
This has been the equivalent of just a Rule 1, where both the players have just nullified each other. But still, occasions where they're just peeking through, getting their chances. Here's Seiko. Asked a bit too much for himself this time around. Rise, drop pass, but the time has just ticked away. And we have Champions Field coming up. Can Team Queso be the first team in Europe to reset the bracket? Or are Endpoint going to get their third tournament victory?
It's unreal. It really is so impressive that Seiko can do this. It's so obvious that Endpoint are continuing to do what they've always done, and that is let's bring the best out of Queso, or let's bring the best out of Seiko, I mean to say. Let's just give him all the opportunities to get involved in the attack. But he is not only leading the attack, but also just scoring a ton of goals. You'll often see that disruptor, that guy leading the attack, setting up chances exclusively. But he is often the finisher as well, just going all the way himself. And despite the fact that Vatira has read so many of Seiko's plays, Seiko's still scoring. He's still making passes for his teammates to score. He is involved in every single goal for Endpoint in this series. And relating with Metza, no egos. They're happy to let their teammate run riot. They're happy to just, go along for that victory, back him up, defend, be as consistent as possible. And like you mentioned, that boost management, so key for Metsanoris and so key for Endpoint. Can they keep it up?
So no timeout used. Team Queso want to get this done now. As Vatira, not going to see anything much more after that demo. Metza pops the ball over the top. Seiko can't quite get there in time. Good challenges. Endpoint coming into this Game 7 with all the momentum on their side. There's two teams that have done what many consider to be the impossible. Just find some consistency over in this region. Team Queso bursting onto the scene throughout the winter split. Endpoint, team with 2 tournament victories to their name coming out of the previous split. It's Vatira. He waited for the bounce. Got a little greedy there with the play, but Metzer couldn't clear it too much further away. I don't think you're going to get time like that if you're Vatira. You're going to need to try and make the most of what you've got rather than waiting and seeing.
It seems like a BDSS timeline for
he's done him!
Endpoint. Wow, okay.
That is the nutmeg.
Let's try reading that one. Joyo with an unbelievable recovery in mid-air to get back to the ball. And then just sticks it underneath the relating wave at the near post. You can't read this guy. Doesn't matter how early you get the challenge in. He is still able to get back to the ball. What a great piece of improv we just saw. Because there's no way Joyo's planned that the entire way, but he is making it up as he goes along just as well as any other player in the world.
We've seen so many players at least think of it and try for it. No one really gets it to work. So always the defender that gets down just in time. But Team Queso have managed to get themselves this opening goal. Now in a good position, infield. The idea was solid. And this time didn't have the players available. Relating wave bumped. And this might be, though, where that Game 7 starts to peek its head in. Team Queso not having another player around.
Queso have been so impressive in so many consecutive ace matches, and now the post to the rescue for Endpoint. Vatira's shot going right across the face of goal after contacting the right upright. Endpoint struggling to get out of their own half at the moment, and Vatira's looking for that drop down. Gets it. Relating wave is there first.
Team Queso have been the overtime kings. They have been the tiebreaker match lords. Nobody has been able to stop them yet. Endpoint needs to do that in order to take this tournament win. Joyo looks to get it to himself. Found some success earlier on with that side, and he's done it again. Bounced out to Vatira, and Endpoint just found chasing.
Look at this from Vatira. He had 0 boost. Does he go back to the defensive corner? No. He goes over 3 small pads and comes back in. Love to see that activity from Vatira. He knew that there was something coming his way there. At least there could be. And it just goes to show how important it could be to stay active in the play. Queso, never a team who prefer to back all the way down with their small boost pads that they could run over the top of. Now here come Endpoint. First real big chance of the game. Seiko pushes it middle, and it's finished off by Metsunoris. Seiko continues to provide for his team.
How on earth has he got this so perfect? Metsu believes in him, but you've got to get that so good. Not have the power on the pinch where it's going to just spin the ball away. And Seiko's done it yet again. Coming into this game, both teams have a 4-0 record in Game 7s. Endpoints for the entire season. They have not played a Game 7. All split long. But for this split alone, it's Team Queso that are 4-0. Somebody's 0 is going to go here.
You can't remember as well, Endpoint's regional grand final record. Undefeated right now. They've won 4 out of 4. This is their 5th series that they have played in a grand final. The first grand final of the split, of course. Both teams showing incredible guts here. Queso storm off to a lead after a couple of unsuccessful tries to close out the series. Endpoint fighting from behind.
Rise just trying to find a way out here. Nothing going, though, as Relating Wave happy to meet him. Vatira clears long, and actually nobody available to just run onto this. Everybody from Endpoint holding into the midfield. Means that they got to start from their own side yet again, but they've done a good job. Metzer, it drops down. Doesn't go for the bump on Rise because he knows Relating Wave is so far back, but it's demo after demo. Leaves it for Relating Wave. Almost managed to sneak his way past. Pops out to Seiko yet again. Now it's Joyo's opportunity. Bumped away. Very physical from both teams.
And now Seiko looking for contact. He's looking for another chance to score. He'll be disappointed that the counter-attack from Relating Wave to himself went just a touch too high moments ago. Those are the kind of plays that Seiko so consistently gets on the end of. Final minute now. No boost for Seiko. Him and Relating Wave both moving into the same part of the field, looking for the same big boost. It's all just 0s across the board for Endpoint. Can they get another goal-scoring opportunity as good as the ones they've already had?
Oh, Seiko was already starting to drift over into the midfield. Almost got his team caught. A desperation to find themselves another chance. Almost finding Endpoint on the wrong side of a 2-0 deficit. Seiko, he's got past one. Two more in the midfield. Passes out to Mel,
Oh!
who just scuffs the ball wide a little bit too early. Didn't have the angles to play with. 16 seconds now, and all the work to do for Endpoint.
This is not a bad position for them, though. The Lightning Wave trying to get this off to the left-hand side to Seiko. Here he is. Shots going top left. Rise easily collects it and takes it to the back corner. Just a couple seconds now for Endpoint, or we're going for the bracket reset for the first time in this entire split in EU or NA. No, not quite yet, though. Metsadors keeps it up. Surely, there it is. Queso have reset the bracket. We go again.
We go again indeed. Team Queso have made their split theirs. And now they are one more best of 7 away from storming to a second tournament win of the split. A team that we were looking at last split as a potential fringe contender in the future. But for Endpoint, there's a lot that they can take from this game. There's obvious fixes, I feel like, for them. And they managed to get a lot of them going towards the latter half of this series, especially with the boost management. But I think both these teams actually might come into this best of 7 still confident.
Yeah, Endpoint did finish this series a lot better than they started it with the 3-1 deficit early on. But Queso have just been unreal in these Game 5s, Game 7s. Obviously, they started off their group stage not so hot in the Game 5s, losing Game 5 to Guild, losing Game 5 to 0-0 Nation. But since then, it's been Vitality in 5, going the way of Queso. Williams Resolve in 5, Carmine in 5. And then we're now seeing them win in Game 7 against Endpoint. What a run, Queso run. This is definitely the most impressive lower bracket run that we've seen in the entire split.
Yep, and I cannot wait to see more. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, it is the bracket reset as Endpoint continue to play against Team Queso.
Welcome back to the Rocket League Championship Series. This is Championship Sunday for the Copa de Rocket League. I'm Leaf, and alongside me, Gregan, Subi, and Corelli. We're here for the rest of the day while we watch the series go. You're not getting rid of us because there's another best of 7 to come because Team Queso just won their first one. Bracket has been reset. Corelli, 4-3 though. Endpoint fought hard to end it there.
Yeah, and they're giving Queso a very tough series. And I think for Queso, a lot of their earlier tricks, especially in previous matchups today, weren't working as well against Endpoint, but you can see Vatira still having tons of space for the flip reset. Joyo is having a phenomenal tournament on that beautiful Mustang here today. And Queso, I'm so happy to see them do so well because maybe not their best showing in group stage, but when it comes down to this grand final, they've gotten the job done here against Endpoint, who has really cranked it up a notch for this regional.
Yeah, a lot of success coming from the aggression where they kind of have like a fullback running point and getting a demo on the goal line and it's wide open. But yeah, I agree. A lot of those tricks, the fakes that we've seen, not working as much against Endpoint. But I mean, it's tough when Seiko is playing the way that he has been. What are you going to do? He's just popping off, hitting a lot of the shots. And I mean, 100% goal participation or darn near close to it. Endpoint looking very well, but Team Queso did edge him out, so we were all hoping for that. We got that bracket reset. Now the fun begins.
I mean, the game 4 was the real change of pace, where we saw Queso come back from, I think it was 3 goals down to win that series and win that game in overtime. Those kind of games, you look back on them at the end of the series, when it goes to the game 7, you think, wow, that really was important. At the time, it didn't necessarily mean so much. But then the fact that Endpoint fought back and made it so close, it really shows that these two teams are some of the best players in the world. They do play at that level, especially Endpoint on boot camp. We say it time and time again. The only reason Endpoint aren't a higher seed in Europe is because they can't boot camp 3 times, it seems. That's the main differentiating factor. They do not finish. I think they finished 3rd is the lowest they've ever finished whilst being on boot camp. Otherwise, they've made the final, 1-2 of them, and this is their 3rd they're trying to win.
Yeah, Corelli, do you think that the boot camps are something that more teams are going to start looking at, seeing the success from a lot of these teams that have gotten themselves together?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean,
cool.
A lot of teams that.
All I want.
Oh, okay, great. I'll just end right there then. Yeah. Yes.
So you say why not? I mean, as somebody who had to organize boot camps, they are not easy to organize.
Okay,
They're
fair.
not fun.
Okay, but
there is a lot of work that goes into them, especially at successful boot camps. So don't look at these boot camps and just think they've chucked 3 players in a room and gone, have some fun. We've seen what happened with the Endpoint's boot camp.
I don't know. I'm looking at
Well, they kind of did.
They
literally did this time.
This isn't a boot camp. It's a LAN party. So big difference.
That's great. Yeah, no, it does, but it's working. It's looking good for them. I mean, they did just lose one. We'll see if they fix it up in the next one, though, because the grand finals are going to continue on in a few moments, not after we see if there's any flippers in chat. Let's see if we got any flippers. Let's see if we
Any
got
dolphins?
anyone
Any dolphins?
switching over. I mean, it was pretty much 50-50 last time anyways, but let's see if Queso has convinced some people that they deserve a higher percentage here. And I want to see if the desk is going to flip at all here. Because I mean, we all went Queso and they won it, so I don't see why we would.
We
put your hand
look
up
like
if you're-
geniuses after that, by the way. Look at us.
Yeah, look at that.
Is anybody going with the risky? Anyone going endpoint? Put your hand up now. Speak now or forever hold your peace. No, I didn't.
Can't.
Okay. He's still eating. No, that was.
I brought out a lot of cheese. I gotta finish it, man.
You do not need to eat all of that, Susan.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I do.
Put it back in the fridge.
The stats
Yeah,
are kind of
string cheese
against
now.
us here. The
Yeah.
lower bracket normally doesn't win the black bracket reset or the series at all. But feel good about Queso. I'm not going to lie. They are a very special team here in Europe, and they're starting something that I think can grow over the next season, at the end of the season into next season, where it feels like this could be another team that could like have that kind of BDS status.
Yeah, only one team has won from the lower bracket across all of the winter split, and that was Noble in the first region of South America. Outside of that, we've only seen 3 bracket resets, all of which were lost by the team coming from the lower bracket after they got the bracket reset. So this is very much breaking the odds from Queso here, but we're just going based off of what we've seen.
Well, let's see what chat is because we got our match ready. I want to see if we got it flipped. It's not
It's the
literally
same as
50-50.
before.
I mean, kind of. It went a little more in Queso's way, 1%. But hey,
I commend your consistency, chat. Well done. The game is ready, though. Enough of us. Shogun and Johnny are waiting by for our grand finals. We're about to crown a champion here at the Copa de Rocket League, the last winter split regional. Let's find out if it's Endpoint or Queso.
Thank you very much there, Leaf. And yet we are here for our bracket reset. There is not much that can really change in the overall hierarchy of Europe. However, both of these teams have won all that momentum going over to the major. And for both these teams, a statement of intent, Johnny, as we get ourselves into game number 1.
Yeah, this is where it all starts now. Queso can keep up that momentum. Finished so strong in that last game. Endpoint just fighting to stay in it towards the end, but unable to really create as many quality opportunities compared to Queso. And it feels inevitable when Endpoint are relying on Seiko to either create or score every single goal.
Oh, good shot. Start us off here, Rise. More than capable of being there, and expect to see an awful lot of what you just saw. Demos galore in our opening series. Maybe we're going to get even more physical play. We already know that it's been very difficult just to find a safe spot on this field. It's caused an awful lot of action, though. If you're forced to keep on moving, it means you might as well start moving towards that ball. Joy already up. Ceiling couldn't find his own self-pass, but he did find Rise. Look at the respect that was given to that by Endpoint.
Yeah, Endpoint only really paying attention to Joyo there.
Oh, there's no boost. Metz, you got no chance, mate.
Yeah, good luck. Joyo making a really smart play there, just forcing a 50-50 against the player that he knew was the last man. As Metz Norris positioning up on the wall like this makes it very difficult to cover those bottom corners. Joyo showing that he's not just a bag of mechanics, he's got the brains as well. Smart play to open the scoring.
About a minute in. Still waiting for Vatira to get his first points. And a good spectator role. There we go. As he gets himself a save, and he gets himself 2 of those, I believe, contact points that you get there. Joyo tries to get over nice and quick. Seiko guides the ball away from him. Seiko again clears. Vatira already waiting in that midfield. What a battle they had in the opening series. Seiko was stopping Vatira. Vatira was stopping Seiko. Both of them still able to get some wonder goals out there. I'm expecting to see some more of that here this time around.
Yeah, it's awesome to see that defensive masterclass from Vatira. So many times you're able to read what Seiko's up to and stop all these shots that many a goalkeeper from all around the world would have struggled to save. And that's going to be 2-0 Queso. Joyo once again, that guy leading the attack in the Mustang. He's been pretty disgusting today, Shogun.
Oh, I'm going to let you have it. All right, there you go.
I feel like I can only really get away with that one.
You can get with that in game 1. All right. It has been as well. Team Queso getting away with an awful lot, especially with those nets. Endpoint just haven't quite found the right rhythm. If they are going to be this aggressive over in the midfield and try to keep their players moving, they've got to start winning some more over in that midfield as well. Infield pass, Metza overdid it and did not turn the ball in when it was desperately needed to be scored.
Yeah, that's just got to be a goal. There's no other way about it. You're undefended. From that range, you know, pick the top corner out every single time, except this time for Metsonoris. With the quality striking coming out of Queso and the limited opportunities that Endpoint have had for most of the games in this series and the last one, yeah, you got to be putting those away. As Relink Wave now a little bit too far forward. We've seen a fair bit of that today with players trying to get that almost like mid-game cheat, just get a little bit closer to the ball, start that race. That is also important. It's great control. Rise, keeping the ball in the corner, not giving Seiko any chance to dunk him, and get the first goal for Endpoint.
It certainly has become a little bit of a meta game as well, where both teams are cheating up more and more and more. Just rely, though, on at least your teammate getting a ball that's going to bounce over to you in a nice position. If not, you are well out. As Rise again gets there in time. Relating Wave calls away Metza. 2 minutes, 2 goals needed. Win 1, however, the shot earlier on from Metza not quite finding the target. Relating Wave, good opening challenge. It's going to bounce awkwardly. Seiko looks to try and provide. You get confirmation of this, but did Seiko end the previous series having at least participated in every single goal?
Oh, what?
Wave, mate!
Again, Relating Wave just jumps early. I've got to wonder, like, what is he jumping for here? He's on the wrong side of the ball.
I think he got, like, jump scared or something. Like, it bounced down right in front of him. Oh, and then just jumped.
Man. I mean, it looked pretty bad the first time around. It looked even worse on the replay. It's a shame for Relating Wave because he is that guy who's always so consistent in defense, but he puts in his second own goal in just 2 best of 7s. He had one on Forbidden Temple, I think, yeah, game 2 of the first series. And he's just rushing himself. He just doesn't give himself enough time to react. I mean, how are you supposed to read what is going to happen there with the bounce? It's not possible. And attempting to go early is just asking for things like that to happen.
We've seen as well from Queso a willingness to go for what I dubbed the flying nothing on occasion. Just, hi, I'm here. Do you believe I'm going to do something with this? And it has made Endpoint quite jumpy at occasion. Same would also be said for Team Queso, but they only really have that reaction against Seiko. Everyone else happy to go and meet. Seiko's got away with a little bit more. As he is going to be called in here if this team is going to make a comeback. They needed something from this. Instead, Vatira looks for the shot.
There it is.
Doesn't get there, but again, the flying nothing.
It's the shot that you have to respect. And Metsonoris can see Vatira jumping up before him here. He tries to predict where Vatira is going to touch this. And Vatira just lets it go right by him. And it's a good idea from Vatira there because if he gets a very, very slight touch on the ball there, it's going to fly on target. If he misses it, the goalkeeper could just as easily be faked. So going for the absolute smallest pixel on the end of the ball is definitely the right idea and puts them 4-0 up in game 1.
Team Queso coming out firing here in game number 1. And we do have confirmation. Seiko has been involved in every single goal.
Every goal.
I think this is a game where Endpoint, this kind of shows what their reliance is. This is a game where Seiko, we didn't really see much of him, but Metza and Relating Wave, a rare stumble, but this was not the level we've got used to those two.
Indeed. I mean, it's a playstyle that has worked for them in the past several times, but we rarely see a 100% goal participation in Seiko. He's always one of the highest when it comes to the goal participation stat, but 100% is not acceptable at this level. In between 8 games now, you've got to have Metsonoris and Relating Wave combined for at least 1 goal. And they have, of course, been taking turns being that player combining with Seiko. But Rocket League is far too fluid of a game to just have one man creating and scoring all of your chances. Relating Wave and Metza have got to be more clinical. Metsonoris missing the best chance of the game. At a relevant moment in this game as well, they ended up losing 5-0, but it was only 2-0 when Metsonoris hit the post, which was a wide open top corner right next to it. Had they scored that, you know, definitely the feel of the game changes significantly with the time that they had remaining.
I can tell you right now, there's a very happy Wave punk out there at the moment because Joyo, 4 goals to himself, and we already know that Wave does love the Mustang. Well, seeing that Mustang number 1 with 4 goals would certainly make Wave a very, very happy boy. But can Queso keep this up? And more importantly, can Endpoint figure this out? Because that was a very poor opening game by their own standards. They need answers here as we head over to Forbidden Temple. We see what exactly can they do. Can they avoid, most importantly for me, getting stuck in those 2v1s? Because we're getting a lot of times, like here, it's a bit less of a situation compared to the ones previously I would have talked about. There's a lot of times where the ball is in the air and there's just one player on the goal line that has got to wait and see whether or not he's going to get hit away.
It was mechanical mainly in the last game where Endpoint fell short. Great coverage in the top corner there from Joyo to just have more parts of the goal defended. And now look at the transition from Queso. It's Joyo to rise to the back of the net. That's right after he's made one save. Air dribbles over Relating Wave. Gap at the back leaves the open net. Rise takes it.
Team Queso continue to march on here. Looking unstoppable in the bracket reset. First goal to them. And it's Endpoint that really need to just snap this streak. Now, Team Queso have got going for themselves because look at the confidence. Joyo does not care right now. Nobody on Queso cares. You might see this as a matter of formality at this point. Unless Endpoint can start to just fight back. Relating Wave, good challenge from him. Needs a second one, gets it. Seiko steals the 100 boost. He tries to turn around. We're seeing as well from Endpoint just how far up that midfield line is. Left them open to the counterattacks. Also leaves them an opportunity.
Oh, no.
And that one was too wide even before the save.
It's just not good enough. Again, the shooting going wayward. And you have to hit that past the goalkeeper, of course. There's no point shooting at one of the defenders on the goal line. But that really didn't look like it had a lot of pace on it. It didn't look like it was headed towards the bottom corner. We're close.
That was
the
dangerous.
Touches, they're not ideal for Endpoint. They've got to just get that together as soon as possible. They showed great guts to fight back from 3-1 down in the first series, but they don't pick it up soon. They're going to be in that exact same position in the second series as well.
Back out. Here's Seiko. And it's another bad shot. Follow up. Here is Metza.
Okay.
And we go from bad shots to the best one Metza could have taken.
I mean, that's an attempted shot into a very precise part of the goal there from Seiko. And how about that from Metsunoris? So everybody getting their one miss out of the system maybe for Endpoint. Relating Wave, then Metsunoris, and now Seiko as well. Of course, the important stat to acknowledge is once again Seiko involved in the goal.
There. He might get himself another one here. Demo actually means that Seiko's got to track back, and Rise was also after Relating Wave. Story is still the same here. From Team Queso, they are not willing to give up on a strategy, and that's because it has been working for them. Here's Rise. Couldn't get the ball back out. Vatira pops the ball up, looks to try and follow by himself. Seiko couldn't stop him, but he does get enough contact on the card to make sure that Vatira couldn't progress any further forwards. Joyo struggling over here. It's going to invite Endpoint back in. Bounces out. Shot, and Seiko. Can't tell if he was trying to play the ball or if he was trying to play to get rid of Vatira. Either way, Vatira, good enough. Make sure he goes carrying away. Back and forth over here. Metza, I get scared now. I believe in Metza, but the amount of own goals I've seen, I don't fully believe it until I see it go fully wide.
Yeah, if that was Relating Wave in the day he's having, we know exactly where the ball was headed. But Metsunoris does well with the back pass. Really important game here for Endpoint, just to prove to themselves that they are still the team in control of this grand final. You wonder, will there be a fall off in form at some point from Team Queso, who have shown unreal stamina this event. So many games played, so many series played across this weekend. They are still producing some of the best Rocket League they have produced all season and all split lock.
Joyo with Seiko as the last one back. Before Relating Wave came back from the demo. Bounce down. Rise to himself. Seiko's having none of it. Came over to meet him and slapped the ball away. Looks to get to the opposite side of the field. It's on the far side. Metza chasing forwards. Doesn't get the bounce that Relating Wave would have liked to have seen. Seiko takes his time, picks up the 100 boost, and Team Queso with the anti-Seiko strategy. Get there after his first touch, and don't let him see a second. Look at how well Team Queso are holding on to this midfield. It is so difficult for Endpoint to get any sort of sustained pressure on the opposite side. Are they going to try and find Joyo out of position? There was at least an attempt. Shot drops down, and Rise makes sure of it. Metza with his own, and Rise is there for the second.
Great saves by Queso. Something that's really impressed us in both series so far. Now Metza dodges the demo, gets back into position to make the huge clear. Key defensive plays being made at both ends of the pitch.
Queso looks like the most tilting team in the world to play against right now. There's demo after demo after demo after demo. I mean, Rise is over in the corner attacking Relating Wave. What's Relating Wave doing the play? He doesn't know. He just wants to make sure that Relating Wave doesn't get a play anymore. And he just turns back around. Team Queso all over them at the moment.
Uh-oh.
Might get themselves a chance off the backboard, and Rise backs down. Vatira might have caught him off.
Wait.
But Vatira wasn't there. And now the counter attack. Oh! They go! 2-1! And Team Queso finally slip, and they slip in dramatic fashion.
Vatira did not expect the completely free touch. It came towards him, but he wasn't ready. He was expecting somebody to hit that. And what looked like it might end up being an easy goal for Team Queso goes right into their net, with Seiko again getting on the score sheet.
I don't think I've ever seen such a high percentage. You're definitely scoring here if you take this. Followed up by you've conceded within such a short amount of time. Joyo Tasso keeping this game alive. But Endpoint have got themselves back. And Team Queso might have gifted it to them.
It was like Game of Thrones at the end there, as I think Relating Wave attempted to clear the ball and just centered it. So it was a completely free shot for Queso. Then another free shot for Queso off the backboard. Ended up being missed. And Vatira wasn't ready for said miss. Seiko beats him to it with just a goal straight down the middle. Just honestly, if you hit the nameplates and showed that to any Rocket League fan, they'd probably guess that they're looking at maximum diamond gameplay. Like it was just an absolute calamity of errors. But it can happen when one mistake leads to another, and then the next player can't read the play, because how are you supposed to anticipate all these mistakes? It just gets out of control. Endpoint get the job done. They got the win. They've tied up the series.
I mean, this has been a series where a lot of situations like that have been turning points. Go all the way back to that 3-goal loss that somehow Endpoint managed to just throw away. Are we now going to look at that particular play in much the same way? I'm going to find out here. Team Queso, though, proving themselves to be extraordinarily resilient. I don't think it's going to affect them all too much. There's Rise. Meteor takes over, Relating Wave off that backboard. See more and more backboard defense, and actually a player jumping out of the way of Joyo. Good yet again. Here's that. Well, that's what they would like to have seen in the last game.
Yeah, this is ideal. Joyo to Rise. Hard hit. Seiko misses his touch. Relating Wave also going for the same ball. Doesn't make contact. As long as one of them gets that, it's fine. It's not even a bad double commit, but you can't have everybody miss this. Joyo just places the open net to open the scoring.
And Team Queso happy to get the goal back after how the last game finished. And despite getting the last game, we haven't seen Endpoint find their own way of taking control just yet. It's been mostly them against the whims of Team Queso. Joyo again finds his attempted play stuffed out by Metza, who almost got it back out to Seiko. Vatira with Rise out on the bump, gets at least one player. Vatira finds the next, and after all that play, Joyo's chilling at the back, wondering, okay, you might have actually wanted me there.
Yeah, he didn't want to risk attacking that one. It's speculative bumps. Well, speculative to move up and expect a double bump to land, even if it is Rise who's going for it. He was very good at landing those, even on players who know he's coming. Look at Vatira ahead of the play, trying to get a boost steal. And now a bump on the back wall lands it. But this is unconventional from Queso, actually driving ahead of the player who's coming in for the back wall clear, just parking in his way, denying Seiko access to the ball, and giving Rise an open net.
I don't think I've ever actually seen that, especially not at this level.
Genius.
Fantastic. I mean, the Team Queso have utilized now being bumped themselves in order to create goals. Rise is already in the backfield. You can't possibly account for where Rise is playing at the moment. He just goes wherever he feels like, and you've got to try and figure it out. Here he is now, holding the midfield. Got second touch, but Metza couldn't stop it. Actually, that drops down so dangerously. Here's Metza, finds the shot. Well played by him, but the ball just dropped over to him.
And no assist for Seiko. We've done it. We've got a goal that Seiko didn't create or score. Metza Norris, the one to take it, just pounces on the loose ball and sends it home. Endpoint getting chances to score. It looks like Queso might be starting to at least drop off slightly when it comes to their defensive consistency. That's welcome news to Endpoint, who in the first series had a hard time creating chances in a few of the games.
Yeah, Endpoint had a lot of games where they looked like they had the momentum that Queso have had most recently. Didn't find many goal-scoring chances for it. Pops out again. Metza wants to test them, see whether or not they've still got a few more mistakes to give. Actually drops it way towards Rise. Didn't expect that challenge to come through. Metza to himself, 20 boost. Endpoint are starting to find their own rhythm. Oh, back into midfield. Seiko gets himself reboosted, sees Wave on the far side, but realizes he wants to play this a bit quicker. Tries to go underneath. Now off the backboard, Joyo in a rough position, needed the help. And Vatira happy to provide, but we do not see Endpoint really diving in for much of anything. They're taking their time. They're picking their spots. To try and see if they can boost Starve, but there's the clear that they want, and there's Rise behind the line. That's how quickly it falls apart.
Yeah, Queso playing such a sneaky game here with that first man, getting in front of the play. Something that's so rare to see in Rocket League. Target man strats by Queso. Vatira spots an opportunity to advance, and he flicks it over one, Seiko. Again, the man to deny. His French friend on other days. French foe today, Seiko, double. Doesn't make contact. Relating Waves got the ball past one. Tira's there to clear.
This is won by Joyo, but Relating Wave instantly turns. It's become a battle of pace now between both teams. I always just hear demos just out in the background. Somebody's getting hit from somewhere. Metza drops it again. Relating Wave couldn't get there before Rise. Now Seiko Taz were trying to hold that midfield. Did it from a very tough angle as well. Metza, infield option. Took it, but that's such a floating ball that it leaves it open for Joyo off the backboard. Can he get there? Yes, he could, and you needed to stop him, but Seiko also just as quick for Tira. Quick boost check on him. And just enough to make sure that that ball was played away. Back out to Metza. That was very dangerous by Vatira. He has got away with it this time, but his team's 1-goal lead does look a bit tenuous.
Yeah, that looked like a really good chance for Mesnoris, but he absolutely skied it. And now time's really getting away from Endpoint. They were patiently waiting for that opportunity that they have just missed. Now they have to just go all guns blazing in the closing seconds.
20 seconds now. Seiko picks his spot. Look for the backboard. Rise gets enough contact. That's so much time wasted off the clock. Boost stolen away from him, however. He still plays the ball over the top. Rise, the thorn in the side of Endpoint, gets more time off the clock. Now he needs to see if his team can just get rid of it. Metza off the infield, couldn't get there. Just out of his reach. And now it's up to Queso to find the ball to the floor. And they've done exactly that.
We saw a couple of chances at the end of that game for Endpoint, but they weren't able to hit the target, not even testing the keeper at the end of this game. Team Queso back in front, back in control, still trying to be the first team to win from the lower bracket in Europe in this entire split. Looking pretty good to do it so far, because I don't see enough threats from Endpoint. I feel like Queso are just... I mean, we got the exact same shots in this game, but Queso's look a little more dangerous, a little bit harder to defend against. And yeah, I don't know. Endpoint look like they're going to need to do it again from behind by the looks of things.
Yeah, for me, Endpoint look a little bit figured out on the side of Team Queso. We saw just how comfortable they feel. If this is going to go anywhere, Endpoint need to figure out Rise. They know he's going to be there. It's just always there. They now need to figure out, okay, what can we do with this? Because Rise is always going to be exactly where he wants to be. And that usually, in your side of the field, picking up your 100 boost and or just trying to demo you whilst you haven't got eyes on him. But that offers as well Endpoint a couple of other opportunities around the field. It's just whether or not now can they take advantage of those, or a Team Queso just far too slippery to just hold back in their side of the field and find their chances. And more importantly, can Team Queso continue to keep Seiko this quiet?
Yeah, they are doing a great job of locking up Seiko, putting challenges in early, just getting goal side on every time Seiko's got the ball, just goal side. Just make sure that you're at least blocking him or the ball. It doesn't really matter which, because if Seiko's going for a flip reset, if you fly in front of him, miss the ball, and then clip him, at least you're reducing the chance that he's going to be able to get back to it. And that's one thing that Queso have continued to do very well. They're just such an unpredictable team offensively. Much harder to read as the series goes on and on. Compared to Endpoint, we're playing a bit more traditional, a bit more of a standard style. Queso, especially in that last game, using so many plays where you've got players ahead of the play, completely out of sight, making either bump plays or boost steals, passing options available. That's not really something we see Endpoint do as often. It's not Relenting Wave trying to get fast recovery. He looks like he was going to get there. He didn't have to. Seiko also able to block a shot.
It's two teams where the questions about their offense are usually so much different. Whenever you see a player like Seiko, even on Dignitas as well, the type of goals that they produce, as we do see Seiko take the shot, that one's far and away. But every time we see Seiko's plays, there's always that, how did you manage that? But when Queso are playing their offense, the question is usually, why are you doing that? Why on earth are you over there?
Never how are you doing that. Well, actually, often how are you as well, but not in the sense of worrying about the players. Really want to see more of a long-term plan for Endpoint in these attacks. It looks like their plan right now is, well, let's just see if we can create a scoring chance and then go for the top corner. And they're not really thinking about surviving in the offense. They're not really thinking about, oh, wait a minute. Not really thinking about own goals.
You've got competition.
Where did this one come from? That looked like it was just going to be a routine clear. And then all of a sudden, Rise just slammed in his own net for absolutely no reason. What is he doing?
That's smart. Rise figured out he's getting a bit predictable, okay? He's reset everyone's mental when it comes to how Rise plays.
Oh my goodness.
This is as much fun as I've had. This Grand Final's been a bit goofy at times.
Oh my. I knew Rise was, you know, a big fan of some of the North American teams and looking forward to meeting his idols in NA, but I didn't realize he'd been watching their replays in preparation for this Grand Final. My goodness. Some of these own goals. Endpoint are getting it done. Somehow they're still looking like they're going to deadlock this. Despite, I think, just lacking firepower in offense to summarize the problem they've got.
Let's say they do. Let's say this ends as it is right now. Their 2 wins would have come from the state of that own goal by Rise and the state of that offense we saw earlier on to give it away by Team Queso when they had the open backboard shot. It is Queso have been. They've given up some screamers.
I'd love to.
Oh,
there we
go. Good shot.
Oh, that is a very good finish by Seiko, and the placement to the correct side. We saw this in Neo Tokyo 2 times, actually. This exact same play. Seiko boost steal comes right back in for the infield pass. This seems to be a pretty consistent way for Endpoint to set up chances to score. Trying to do it off a boost steal, trying to do it off a bump, not just out of nowhere from a standard play. That's why these long-term plans for Endpoint, I think, would make a lot more sense, trying to place their shots into areas of the net that aren't necessarily more likely to go in first try, but definitely more likely to result in continued pressure. And they can get those boost steals, they can get those opportunities to pass. This is less likely to work. You know, an infield pass with no setup, far too obvious. Queso have it covered. But what they don't have is any goal to work with here, apart from Rise's own goal, which obviously doesn't help. Endpoint up by 2. They'll be pretty surprised to be up by 2 given how this game has gone. Queso's still a real threat, especially late in games. And this is where Endpoint need to just try and get that time wasted, let the clock do the work for them, play as safely as possible. They've already thrown a 3-goal lead on this exact same map in the first series. 2-goal lead, not feeling safe.
That's a smart play here. Can't throw a 3-goal lead. You don't get the 3-goal lead.
Genius. Checks by Endpoint.
Watira looking to try and force the pace over here. Off the wall, Relenting Wave happily there, although this is dangerous, and Metza didn't believe in any of it. Now Seiko passes it over to him. And
wow.
There you go, utilizing the 2v1.
That's phenomenal by Metza Norris, giving Seiko the hat trick, but all Metza in the past year, really all Seiko had to do is drive into the ball. How perfectly Metza delivered it to him. You said, you can't throw a 3-goal lead if you don't get one. Well, they've got one now. Let's see if they can hold it.
Definitely got a lot less time here to throw this one away. 50 seconds. Mets are currently on the ball, but here is Joyo. We'll have options, but so do Endpoint, and that Endpoint option is always a relating wave in the midfield. Metzer looks to set up yet again. 30 seconds here. That could be Endpoint getting their second win of the series. Metzer back to himself. He at least deserves a goal. He's been provided twice. At least deserves one of these, but it might not be coming his way. And again, we look back to, as funny as it was, the Rise own goal. I don't know where it's come from, but it's something that has happened twice now to Team Queso, where they just give up a goal, and it's just like, how?
Yeah, especially this one. You can see what he was trying to do. He's trying to obviously hit the ball across the goal, not into the goal, but underestimated his own accuracy as he snugged the very, very tight angle. And I think interestingly, we've got Vatira going to be switching cars here. That is a big change because all of the losses we've seen Queso handle pretty well so far. Haven't had any car changes, haven't had any timeouts. They've just gone right back into the game and kept doing what they're doing. But now Vatira changing car. Is he feeling it? Starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit inconsistent mechanically. Or maybe he just wants to try one of his other presets, wants to see...
maybe Joyo's managed to sell him on the power of the Mustang.
Oh, if we see two Mustangs, it's definitely Endpoint series. I don't believe... I'm not a believer in the double Mustang. Joyo's like, he's trying to convince me that the one Mustang is the way to go. You know, he's been impossible to read. He's definitely impossible to read today. So eliminating a lot of the wayward touches, eliminating a lot of the
all right, you're going to be shocked at the car that we've got from Vatira, by the way. It's an Octane.
Oh, okay.
It's to me, though, the best Octane decal that is out there.
Beautiful.
Halo anniversary one. I love that one so much.
Yeah, you're right. We're seeing a bit more standard from Vatira. Fennec to Octane, very normal switch up there. Vatira going to try play, I think, a little bit faster. The control seemingly not working for him in the Fennec. That's a great play by Metzenaris. Vatira's right there for it. And he's right there again to beat Metza to the ball. Here's Vatira's first attempt. No reset. Even tried there. His first aerial attack in the Octane.
Yeah, something a little bit different from them. My eyes are always just on Metza, though. Rotation does control on him, but he's got no say in this one whatsoever. Just forced to sit and watch as Vatira pulls this out of the bag.
Yeah, Relating Wave didn't read the bounce. He's expecting that to curve around the back wall, come towards him. It bounces clean off, and Seiko has absolutely no chance. With placement like this from Vatira, how are you supposed to react to an accurate bouncer into the top corner like this? Now Vatira's offloaded to Rise. This is a double down into the bar. It's still in the area, but Relating Wave takes the ball clear. That's not the same Relating Wave we saw earlier. Rushing his touches and accidentally knocking it into his own net. That was composure.
I feel like part of that as well might come from if Relating Wave is getting a better read on Rise, because he was the one that was being chased almost as much as anybody else on Endpoint. It just seemed like he was doing things to avoid that possibility of the bump coming in. Now they might feel a little bit more comfortable. He can start playing his own game yet again. Here's Vatira with Rise up in support. Rise looks for Metza, and Metza darted forward to make sure there was no chance of it going in.
That's an unreal save by Metza to dodge a mid-air demo, get around that, and still make a save on a Vatira aerial play. That's fantastic stuff. Probably the best 1v2 defensive play we've seen all day. He's in another one briefly here, not for long, and he did in fact get out and deal with it without wasting any time. Can Endpoint transition. Good defense is not all you need when you're 1-0 down.
The only issue I see for Endpoint is that this has been a consistent. And as good as you've got at the 1v2 defense between Metza and Relating Wave, there's only so many times they can deal with it before something happens, a misplay on their part, or more likely they're just going to get outplayed by the two players. It's such a risky strategy that requires so much trust from everybody over an Endpoint. But they've not abandoned it. And this late into a series, we're not going to see them abandon it. They know what works for them. Rise tried to catch Metzenara sleeping. Metza already there. There is Seiko one-on-one against Rise, and Seiko bit wasteful, actually. Didn't catch that ball the way he would like to.
Yeah, he was expecting more of a passive play from Rise. Rise just lunging forward. And now
There's no one back.
Joyo's
Why
going
is
to
there
get
no
an
one
open
back?
net. Rise assisting him well. That was actually a great catch by Rise. I don't think anyone on Endpoint is expecting Rise to be able to just control that ball up on the sidewall there. Relating Wave is trying to center the ball. The big bounce actually just gets completely denied by Rise. Keeping that ball cam on. Keep making plays.
I think could have finished that sentence at nobody was expecting Rise. And that would very much encapsulate what this series has been like for Endpoint. He's tricky to read for his team and for the opponent's team. Joyo off that wall. I'm going to get there, and Metza clears. Vatira might have the infield option. He does take it, and Rise's shot is blocked.
Now we had the same position here for Queso that Endpoint had last game. Never mind. Well, it's the exact same thing. 3 goals. But what is going on in defense?
Metza.
For Metza Norris.
Buddy.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, there's absolutely no excuse for that one. You know, some of the own goals that we've seen today have been from positions where there's limited information for the defender. They don't know if they're being rapidly approached by an opposing player. They don't know if they're running out of time to make a key touch. Metza Norris had all the cards there. He could see exactly what was happening, see the danger, and he just completely aired the clear. I don't know why he was rushing it in the first place. That was just absolutely bizarre.
We said earlier on that I couldn't see, well, I said earlier on that I couldn't see Metza Norris ever doing a death slam. I think today is maybe the good day to not have those cameras on, because if there was going to be a death slam, it would have been there.
I think, yeah, he would probably start off, as all desk slammers do, with the hand being raised and the thought of the slam, but then also the thought about the pain that will occur after the slam.
Maybe he's a smart death slammer. Maybe he's got like a small pillow around that he can like put down, then slam onto the desk.
See, these are the veteran plays. You know, that's probably what Metza Norris is going to bring to a team, a young team like Endpoint. Maybe Queso can be taking notes as well. It's like, you know, asking these LAN veterans, what do you need to do to bring to LAN with you? Metza's going to say, well, a pillow. They're thinking, yeah, that's smart. So you can sleep on the flight. And Metza's saying, no, so you can slam the desk and not get a wrist injury. It's little things like that that really, you know, benefit the teams of the LAN veterans.
We are coming towards the end of this game, a game that is going to give Team Queso double championship points. And they've just thrown Endpoint off at times. Endpoint uncharacteristically full of mistakes. Might be another one here. Seiko will clear. But the amount of times that goals have gone in, and myself, yourself, and maybe everyone at home, Johnny, have just been a little bit flabbergasted at how on earth has that gone in. It's been a little bit too often here, but Team Queso have been the benefactors.
Yeah, there was talk about maybe the momentum running out, maybe the energy running out for Queso after this long lower bracket run and all these series, all these games you've had to play this weekend, and especially today. But it's actually Endpoint who seem to be slipping up here, letting Queso back into this one. We have seen, of course, that one own goal from Rise in the last game, so mistakes from Queso as well. But the kind of mistakes we're seeing from Endpoint here, especially this complete whiff at the end of the game from Metza. Extremely strange.
That one we will not blame them for. The one that we just saw, you're not stopping that from Vatira, but
yeah, the first goals are fair enough.
Weird.
I feel like even the second goal, you can say that that's fair enough, because I think Rise just completely caught them off guard with a great interception. But obviously they did throw the ball away, so they're definitely partly to blame for that second goal. But the third goal is just a clean whiff. Like, there's no reason to miss this. There have been a few weird plays like this where inconsistency started to creep in. Definitely a grueling series, and playing against Queso for this long is going to do that to you, because you've always got to be wondering, okay, where's Rise? Where's Joyo? Is Joyo actually hitting that, or is it a prank? You know, what is Vatira doing? How many resets has he got? It's stressful, and it's starting to, I think, even get to Endpoint, who have been in so many grand finals, played so many series in grand finals. Queso showing experience far beyond their years and far beyond where most of us would have expected them to be at this point in their Rocket League careers.
And Queso have got something which many Rocket League teams struggle to have, and that is a game plan. They know what they want to do. They're going to send Rise downfield and just let him cause havoc. And we get games like we have seen throughout this entire series where there are weird mistakes, absolutely. But also you see some of the mechanics that were used, it's players going for things earlier than they would typically like to because they think they've got to. They don't know where Rise is. That bump could happen. You might as well go now than leave it the split second extra and suddenly get demoed and you're not going to play the ball at all. I think just that little change where you're doing plays and you're doing mechanics in a way that you don't tend to practice throws off a team like Endpoint and pretty much everybody else in the world, where it does make him look a little bit silly at times.
Well, here we go. Can Endpoint bring it to another Game 7? We had one earlier. They came back from 3-1 down in that series to make it happen. Now it's 3-2. Double championship point from Team Queso. It's their first championship point. The last series they won was only to get into the reset bracket. Endpoint starting off with the first pressure play, easily dealt with by Joyo.
Now, Endpoint now not only have to win this Game 6, but they've got to take down Queso, where Queso seems to thrive the most in the ace match. Overtime, ace match, anything that requires them to be clutch. Team Queso always up to the task. We'll see here how they can do on their championship point. Vatira avoids being bumped. Metzer as well heading on in. Double commit, relating wave calls off. It actually almost got it off the crossbar. That's going to drop down. Metzer's got to wait for his chance. Chooses to play for time. Realized that Seiko was going to be late on the rotation out.
Oh, that's a bit unfortunate for Relating Wave. He almost scored directly, and the bounce down actually took the ball away from him as well. Endpoint, we've been critical if they're striking this game and this series at times. That was very close to the mark on the first try.
Oh, the infield off the post. So Endpoint have hit the crossbar. Team Queso have hit the post. Both these teams getting closer and closer to this opening goal. Seiko, not the best first touch. It's over to Rise. Expect to see Seiko continue to loiter downfield, however. As Joyo almost caught Metzer out. Said Metzer, very good shadow defense from him. Seiko ends up missing the ball. How rare do we usually say that? Rise underneath. Who's the support? He's just going to keep trying to go by himself. Relating wave. Booms the ball downfield. Vatira, he knows that there could be pressure behind him. Has to get up there early. Seiko continues to move forwards. Big breath here as both these teams vying for midfield control. It's Relating wave that ends up winning that. Bounces out again on Metzer. Only on 5 boost. Leaves it. Seiko back to Relating wave. Back to Seiko. The pass was behind him. So Metzer, Norris now tasked with trying to keep this play on. In comes Seiko, shot, a little bit too high, Relating wave! Actually could put it on target. Seiko puts it further away than it originally was. But Endpoint had a good chance here. They might want to make more of that.
I feel like that from Relating Wave was nowhere near the target. I think he just hit Seiko with it, and Rise ready to show this done. He's denied by the post. I can't believe this. That was a much better effort by Rise than the one we saw from Relating Wave at the other end of the field. Queso not getting it on the right side of that post. These bounces have not been favorable.
This is one of those games where 0-0 is the least likely scoreline to this point. But it is the scoreline that we have been given. Joyo just guides the ball out of his own side of the field. Seiko immediately over there. Seiko becoming a lot less flashy as this series has gone on. Just wants to win the challenges, wants to get his team a little bit of territory. Rise ends up missing it, leaves Joyo by himself. Tough position to be in. Seiko caught Metzer off. One of the rare occasions, actually, I think Seiko was not the right decision. Should probably have left that for Metzer, who was in a good spot. Well, there's a shot down. Joyo cuts himself back around. And does get rid of it. Vatira can keep the ball going. Loses the challenge. Back into the midfield. Here's Metzer. It's stopped again, but surely this is going to eventually. It's crossbar a second time.
The shooting simply needs to be better for Endpoint. So many squandered opportunities. And the longer this goes on, the more likely it is that Queso are going to get a breakaway with one of their players. Or two in tandem, with Rise bumping so many times today. Joyo getting so many unpredictable aerial plays. And Vatira simply being Vatira. How long can you do this against Queso? We've seen many teams try, and it does not work often.
This is the best Endpoint have looked in one of these games. Vatira starts to move forward, gets good contact on the ball, needs Rise to help him out. And Rise does exactly that. Now to the opposite side of the field, Rise will look to try and find Metzer, who once again has to play early. They know they cannot let Rise run roughshot in their side of the field. They have to get there quick and avoid those counterattacks, but now it's Rise's opportunity. Gets there, time to spare, looks for the player. Everyone's looking for the player, but it's Relating Wave who darts between everybody and finds the space to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, great defense from Relating Wave. Looked like a little bit of an early jump on the follow-up from Rise, who is setting up a glorious opportunity for Team Queso. Final 30 seconds. Endpoint have had by far the majority of the chances here, and some that definitely should have resulted in goals. At least shots on target. Here they come again. That's into the post, but there is a follow-up plan. Mesinoris doesn't get the ball into the center.
And still, somehow, we're at 0-0. I have absolutely no idea how it is. But who's got the one miracle play with the last few moments left? Rise, he's up, he's unchallenged for the longest time. Over the top of one, gets the bomb for the second, and Rise might have done it.
He ascends to the ceiling and rises to the occasion. Huge bump after the reset, outplays the first challenge. And with only a second left, it looks like Queso have done it.
Against all the pressure, against the lower bracket, and against Endpoint, have they done the job they had to do? Yes, they have. Team Queso have got their second tournament victory. They are the Copa de Rocket League champions.